What's up, everybody? I hope you're all doing well and find yourself in great spirits. Man, I'm tired. That's why I haven't been posting. Seems like having to think about stuff, it drains me. I remember when I only did physical labor jobs, I would always think, man, those dudes, they got it easy. They just get to think about stuff. But man, thinking will drain you. Anyways, the universe is a trip. I haven't asked someone to write me a letter of support probably in 15 years. And I have recently because in order to apply to go back to school, I have to submit an application with a statement of, I guess, qualification or interest. Why do I want to go there? Why do I want to go to that school? What qualifies me to be there? As part of the package, I can submit letters of support from other people. And a couple of folks with legal backgrounds and with a lot of accomplishments under their belts as lawyers have offered to write me letters of support, and I'm grateful for that. It was kind of hard for me to ask because I'm not in the habit of asking for help. And so it felt like, I was asking for help. And I am asking for help. And, thankfully and, gratefully on my end, they were happy to do it. But I told them to hold off. I have to write my own letter of support, share it with them, and then they can write theirs to show that I'll do the work first. But this is why the universe is a trip. So it'd probably been 15 years since I asked. And it'd probably been just as long since anyone has asked me, if they ever have. And this week, 2 people asked me to write them letters of support because, their jobs are transitioning and they kind of have to reapply for them. And the people who asked, they're raza. And I was honored that they asked me. I really was. And so, I told them I would. Then, I went and talked to the lawyers and said, hey, I'm writing these letters. I don't do it in any official capacity. That's cool, right? Because of where this takes place. It's cool. So it's all good. I'll write those letters. But the universe is a trip like that. I ain't asked in so long, and when I do, in the same week, 2 people ask, almost the same amount of people, because the school said they only need 3. They only want 3. So, so far 2 have asked me, and I was like, man, the universe gives in one way, and then it asks me to give back in the same exact way, and it's cool, and I'm happy to do it. It's keeps things balanced, I guess. So anyways, the video that I wanted to make as a topic was about cussing. Using curse words in your in your talk every day. And just cursing in general. When I was a little kid, I used to think that somehow cussing made me cool. The more I cussed, the cooler I was. And I remember this, older girl. She was probably a teenager, and I was probably 10, 9. She says, man, you a bad kid, huh? Because I was just hella cussing. And it carried on with me into adulthood where I just cussed. I don't think I did it to be cool. And I had, my daughter, she was probably 9 at the time herself. Now I'm an adult. I'm not 9 anymore, but now she's 9. And one day I was talking and cussing, and she says, "You know what, Dad? When you talk like that, you really don't look smart." And I thought, damn, that's crazy that this kid don't have the same values I have, thankfully, that she thinks being bad is how she's going to be cool. And two, the societal awareness to see how it's perceived that maybe I wasn't seeing. And then later in life, I remember having this conversation with someone who I respected, and when I cussed, like, the conversation was over for them. And I got mad because I said, you know what? You're trying to tone police me. If you listen to the message, we're actually in agreement. And I think you miss out of a good message because you write people off so quickly. But the truth is that the message that I'm sharing is trying to explain, like, systemic racism, how people can advocate, what have you. And so it's not only them that misses out on maybe learning about that if they're interested in it. It's me missing out on the opportunity to potentially spark someone who can go on to be a great advocate in their own right, even if it does never have nothing to do with me. But you spark them, and then they go off and do wonderful things. That's a benefit to the world. And if that's what you want, then you miss out by speaking like that and losing them. And one would say, this person, maybe, that person is just hypersensitive. But the truth is, they could be, and they could still be a great advocate or ally, except for they just don't want to tolerate cussing. Recently, I've seen someone cuss in a public meeting. And when I see it there, it almost seems like a form of violence. Like you're assaulting people with this language that maybe they're not used to hearing. And I've seen it done in a calculated way to emphasize maybe the anger of someone who's been treated unjustly. They're not yelling. They might just say, it just gets so fucking tiring or something like that, right? Having to live like this and always under this stress. And so I've seen it used in ways that provide contents to the sentiment that's going on. Then I was going to make the video and I didn't. But then I saw this other video. And the dude that made that video, I would say by all accounts, he's a real tough guy. Like I don't question that he's a tough guy. I believe he's a tough guy. And he was talking about someone else who's a tough guy. That this tough guy was putting on a pedestal for toughness, meanness, viciousness, all that, right? In combat settings, in an institutional setting. And this person is like very highly revered by large segments of the criminal class. And in describing this person, he says, he never cussed. And if you cussed around him, he might see that as a form of disrespect. And so it wasn't just this for lack of a better word, someone would say a Karen on when they, oh my God, he's the angry person of color, what have you. But on the other end, you have this really dangerous person who doesn't like it either, and don't want to be around it, and don't want to be spoken to in or have conversations with people who can't find substitutes for cuss words. I've seen YouTubers cuss a lot, and it I'll probably reach out because I can, and I respect and really believe this person to be a kind, genuine person. And so when I see the cussing, I do think, man, I wonder if that limits your audience. I don't think people necessarily come to these channels to hear cussing. Maybe it's tolerated. I cuss, still. They slip out here and there, but I do recognize that if I didn't, it would be a more polished presentation of my ideas and thoughts, with the occasional exception where the cussing is meant as a form of violence, is intended to shock, because the idea being discussed merits that kind of impact. It's used as a tool and not as a filler. So anyways, that was the thing. And again, I'm not acting like I don't cuss. I cuss a lot. Like my kids have told me, you sound dumb when you talk like that. Well, not all of them. There's another one, and like one time we were at Walmart, and some old church ladies came in, and they were sisters, and one was just hella foul mouth. And we got the biggest fucking kick out of that. That shit was pretty funny. It was funny. And like, she wasn't even put on a show. She was just hella foul mouth, but dressed like a straight church lady, cute little grandma. And so occasionally I would mimic them just for shits and giggles, because it seems so out of place. But anyways, that's the video. I hope you guys like it. Much love and respect. Have a good one.